Hi there, I'm Mary Susie from Bead Me a Story. Today I'm going to show you how to make the dragon steps weave, and we're going to be doing this in rubber O-rings. I'm using our 12 millimeter rubber O-rings in this project, and then I'm also using anodized aluminum jump rings, and the jump rings are an 18 gauge 5/32 jump ring. Okay, so you can see the little metal pieces throughout this. This is a fairly easy weave. I'm going to be working in these colors because they're nice and bright, and you'll be able to see everything happening. And I also wanted to mention in this weave, when you do this in rubber, it is not a stable weave. Okay, so, and you see this with these rings in the center should be like down, up, down, up, down, up, but you see all of a sudden here, it's not doing the down up anymore. So when you stretch this out, you can lose a little bit of the integrity in the center row. But in the case with rubber, I think it's still really attractive. People love wearing this bracelet. So it's definitely worth doing. And if you're a beginner, this is a great weave to work with for learning purposes, because you just learn to approach rings in a certain pattern. And then if you're a little bit more advanced chain mailer, I do have a beaded dragon steps, and the beads, when added to this, will make sure that that center stays in place, that everything is locked into place. But you do need another object added into the weave to get the integrity of the weave to stay perfectly in place for good. But once again, I think you're seeing these and you see how attractive these bracelets are. They do stretch to fit over your wrist. They have this open, lacy pattern to them, which a lot of people like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start this weave, I'm starting out with the jump ring color that's going to be at the top, and in this case, that's orange. I'm going to go ahead and pick up 2 of the rubber O-rings. These are size 12 millimeter rubber O-ring. That size is based on the outer diameter of the rubber O-ring. So if you need to put a rubber O-ring around something, please make sure to look at the full listing, because you're going to want to look at the inner diameter usually to see how that's going to work. Now, I want you to see that I have these like this, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide this down, okay? So I'm not folding it in half. I don't want this ring to be straight up and down. I want it to be sideways. So I'm kind of pulling this around in a half circle, okay, to get it to face up this way. Once I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is, you can see they layer on top of one another. I'm going to actually tuck an O-ring in between these, and this is going to be my first rubber O-ring of the bottom row. So the O-rings have a top row and a bottom row, and then the jump rings are going to have 3 rows. You're going to have a top, a middle, and a bottom row. Okay, so just to start you with a little bit of understanding of where we're going. So now that I have placed this ring in between these, what I want to do is pass around the first 2 rings. So you can see that I have an intersection. This one's above this ring that I just added, and this one is below this ring that I just added. So basically, I'm going to let this jump ring wrap around these 2 rings. Okay, and then that means that it's kind of sitting in the center of that ring that I just added in between them. Okay, so I'm going to close that. You're seeing it upside down right now, but I'm going to turn it back around so you can see. Okay, so that just kind of flips around as you're working with it. Just let it do what it wants to do. Okay, so now we have a top row and a middle row, and next we're going to start adding to the bottom of the rubber O-rings, and we're going to bring in a new rubber O-ring for this pattern. Now the next jump ring I'm going to use is again in the middle. Okay, so I just want you to see, so before we place this ring, this is sitting inside of this ring here that we added. And in this case, this ring is now going to behave just like this one did. So we want to wrap our new jump ring around this rubber O-ring, and then this one that's going to intersect with it, which is in the middle. So we're going to stay inside of this ring here. That becomes our new sandwiched ring that's in the middle of these. Okay. So I'm just gonna pick it up. Notice how I use my thumb to kind of grab that. So I'm going around that ring and then around this other one that's sticking out for me. I'm gonna close the jump ring. Oops. Let me approach that again, because I think I got looking at this the wrong way. I think I got it turned upside down on myself. There we go. Okay. So I was watching the orange O-ring, which I know is going to be on top, and that's why when I got turned around, I kind of knew something was slightly off kilter. Okay. All right. So now this one belongs down towards the bottom, so I'm just going to ever so slightly tilt it down. So the next ring that I'm going to add, actually before I add another ring, what I want to do now, so you see I've got the top, I've got two in the middle, and now I need one on the bottom. So now that this one is in place, I'm going to link this to here. So these two are going to get linked together. Okay, so this is beginner, but you can see there's a little bit of pattern to this, so there's a little bit of thought that you need to put into each one of these that you do. Okay, so now we're adding a ring again. Okay, we know this ring is going to belong to the top, and we know that it's going to link in the middle. So you can see this ring here is the obvious one for it to link to, and we're going to be staying in the center of this newest ring here that we added. Okay, so let's grab another red, which is our middle ring color, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pass through that other ring that I need to catch it to. Okay, so when we're in the middle, we're adding rings. When we're on the outside, we're just securing the outer rows. Okay, so see, I want you to see that this is low, this is high, this is low, this is high. So my ring's gonna tuck up this way. I'm gonna pick up another orange because I know I'm linking my outside row, my top row together, and I'm just gonna link those two together. Okay, so this is fairly simple once you get the hang of it. Again, those first couple rows started can be you know, you need to put some thought into it, but after that is done, you know, this goes together pretty quickly and easily. Okay, so now I know this next one that I'm adding is going to be going to the bottom. Okay, and I know that when I add to the bottom that the ring is going to sit up top, so I'm going to link through this ring and this ring, sitting in the center of this ring that we just added on. Okay, so around the new ring, around the one that also sits inside, and close the jump ring. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that one down, and now I'm going to link it at its base. Link these two rings together here at the base using a yellow. Okay, so real pretty colors in this. I really like the idea of using 3 colors, although you can use one color throughout, but it definitely is easiest to learn if you're using 3 colors. And I like to use, you know, 3 colors that really contrast each other so you can see how pretty it is. So anyway, I just want you to keep going. Next, we're gonna go ahead and use a center red to join a new one in the center, and then we'll add the orange, and then we'll use a red one to add another row of the turquoise that'll lay on the bottom, and then we'll be joining that with the yellow ring. Okay, so just keep going with the length of this. I'm going to pause the video if you want to catch up, and then I'll show you how to complete this pattern. Okay, so we've reached the end of our length that we needed to make. Okay, I just want to show you that where I ended this was, you can see that it's sticking out on the top here, and here it'll be sticking out on the bottom. So this weave is on the bias, so you want to make sure that when we bring this around that it's going to match up perfectly with the other side. Okay, so being that the top is sticking out on this end that I just brought around, just as before, we're going to connect the center first. So we're going to need to connect the center at 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to hook through the O-ring that's on the end. Now I can see the down up, so I know I need a down, and that tells me that I'm connecting to this ring that's inside here. Okay, so that first one, pretty easy to locate. Okay, got that one, so that's a down. And now I can see inside here, see these two need to be connected. Okay, so it's not too bad to find. It is hard when you're starting out to see these things, so just, you know, keep pondering them, keep staring at it until you see where things are going to match up. Okay, and that's an up, and I can see the two on either side of this one are down. So okay, so that's the hardest part, is attaching the center, because we have to attach it with 2 rings. Okay, and you can see that flows all in order. And now the final step is to just attach the top, and you can see this ring just needs to come over here to this ring. And we'll close, and then I'm going to flip it upside down just so I can reach this better, and this ring to this ring, and they'll automatically lay on top of each other the way they're supposed to. But just as I was working, you know, after each step, you give it a slight little tug, a slight little pull out to smooth it out, and you'll see your pattern emerge. Okay, so there we go. That's the dragon step made with 12mm rubber O-rings, EPDM, and with 18 gauge 5/32 round jump rings, and these are anodized aluminum. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll join me for more. Thanks so much.